Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, all right, that was much better, or a little bit better. All right, we have a lot of stuff to cover. Hopefully, we will not go over 1 p.m., but we're gonna do our best. There's just a lot of stuff, obviously. All right, first things first, we wanna meet our newest team members. Welcome David, Josh, Daisy, and Lucy. We're very glad you guys joined us. Ragnar is done. Woo, thank God. Thank you everyone so much for all your donations and your support. We're actually over $18,000 raised for Seattle Children's Hospital right now. So thank you so much for helping us. It was hot, it was warm, it was a lot of fun, and can't wait for next year. There's still time to get donations in, so anybody, you could still donate if you want to. Great job though from our Kent North team. We had 5 runners this year, I think, from just Kent North alone. So Tony, Alberto, Christian, myself, and Ella. First time, we had a couple first timers and Troy Kerr. So quite a good group of runners, and I think next year we're gonna have more. So thank you so much. The Power Hour is still running. Howard Chung is still doing this on Fridays. I think this Friday will be the very last one, so you can go ahead and join those. The recordings will be on howardchung.com. It's just great insight, be able to actually just do some accountability stuff, do some great things with AI. He's doing some really cool things in your handouts, in your meeting handouts. There's a thing to scan. So if you wanted to jump in on those on Fridays, you are welcome to join. Are you on the board? Talk about the listing board. Last month, we had the highest listings. We had 89 new listings just in June alone. Obviously, you guys know inventory levels have been going up. We were off the floor 4 times off the board itself. So great job, you guys. And it looks like this month we're not going to get as many, but there's still quite a bit. Tony, you want to come up? That means we need to do some drawings. So don't forget the rules. You must be present here in the room to win.
This month, we're giving away this month, we're giving away a special selfie stick. It raises up, it raises down. It's actually really cool. I mean, it even has a remote control on it, so. And then.
Selfie stick for video.
But it's a tripod too. I actually bought one and I thought it was a little nifty that I bought it for one of you guys. And then it comes with a microphone too. There you go.
All right, you ready? Let me draw, you draw. Okay, you got it. And our first winner is, hopefully they're in the room.
Darcy bid.
No.
Here. You gotta be present to win.
Yeah.
All right, let's try it again.
Cameron Stratton.
No, Cameron is not here. That's 2 in a row.
Moosey.
Moose.
Okay, he's with his kids. We're gonna give him a pass.
Oh,
He's in California.
that's right. His flight got
Alright.
delayed.
All right.
He was one of the Delta victims. Yeah, that's pretty bad. He was, for real. All right, time for one more. He does.
Last one, Tim O'Neill.
Tim, he is here. Oh, look at that. Get a listing and you win.
Yeah, you know he's here.
The convertible Corvette, that's what you won.
These are the keys.
All right, great job, you guys. We're gonna continue that through the summer, so let's keep it going. All right, the sands of time are dropping, aren't they? Continually falling. The NAR settlement and the Sitzer Burnett antitrust lawsuit releases from liability independent contractors. That's everyone pretty much in the room, who are members of the National Association of Realtors in good standing. So don't forget, we talked about this is the third month. We've been reminding everyone, your membership must be current by August 1st. That's 9 more days. There's only 9 more days left. If you're gonna opt in, gotta be current. That's all I'm talking about.
We gotta do,
That's it.
all we gotta do is just be a real.
Current, yep,
Pay your dues.
that's it. All right, market update. Obviously, we are now, for the 6 phases to the yearly housing cycle, we are in the summer market. And that's when we see the listings finally starting to kind of drop a tiny bit. So far this year, it's which you'll see later on in the reports, that it's getting very close to 2022, really close. Some markets are even above that, but right now, for Pierce and King counties, active listings total is 2865. And last year at the exact same time, it was 2181. And as you can see to the level, remember 2019? That was when it was really crazy for the listings, and the market just really kind of slowed down. And everyone was like, what's going on? What happened? Everyone decided to list at the same time. 2024 is very close to 2022, and it is actually above 2020. So new June listings was 2685. Last year at the exact same time was 2491. Total actives in June was 2865. Last year, same time, total active was 2181. That's 31.36% above last year. Pending sales is 2018. Pending last year was 1999. It's barely off. Closed June was 1753. Closed in June of 2023 was 1860. It's just off 5.75%. Just a blip, really. And then the median price is 965. Last year, same time as 935, and that's just barely up 3.21. We kind of tend to see this, right? When the inventory rises, there's more selection, the market kind of settles a little bit, right? We're talking about the disbursement to the backlog of buyers, the energy during the summer months, because why? Huh?
Everybody's on
Vacations. Yeah, we finally get nice weather. So people are finally taking time to be with family, they're out of school, they're having fun. So this is what happens, and this is when sellers all go, right? Oh, it's time to list. Let's list now. We're ready when everyone else is ready at the same time. So the change in the median is very, it didn't make much of a difference in the price at this time. And that's only a 1.63 month supply. By this month, by next month, when we get July's reports, that is going to be higher. It should be. All right, King County condos only 896 new listings. Same time last year was at 751. Total active is 1453. Last year during June, total actives was 832. That's up almost 75%. So there's definitely some inventory for condos in King County. What kind of messaging can that be to your buyers?
Make low offers.
Maybe. Yeah. So there's definitely more inventory, more selection. So a lot of people are starting to talk about when they anticipated maybe getting multiple offers because they had so many showings, then they made the phone calls, right? They're following up, they're talking to all the agents who showed it. Oh my gosh, there's like 4 or 5 people who said they're going to submit an offer. Great. Let's put a review date. They put a review date. How many offers come in? 0 or 1. Why? Yeah, the buyers have more to look at. They're thinking like, oh, well, maybe we should wait. There's going to be more inventory. Maybe the better condo is going to come on. Maybe the better house. So a lot of that's happening right now. You just have to stay diligent on communicating, making the phone calls, reaching out to everyone who shows it, do the reverse prospecting. And this brings up another point that I wanted to make sure I touched on today, and it's not in the slides, it's not in your handouts. Raise your hand if you were doing a buyer weekly review with your current buyers under buyer agency agreements. Not a lot of people. I heard on a couple podcasts that this is something that's being missed. Because everyone who does a listing, right? You're working with the seller, you're all doing your weekly reviews with the seller. Oh, how many showings did we get? How many hits online? How many offers made? All those types of things. But with buyers, we're not doing that. So start looking at implementing a weekly review with your buyers, even if there's no news. No news is news. So it's just making sure that you guys do that. All right, let's look at Pierce County. 1230 last year for total actives, this year 1790. And it is actually right next to 2022. And look at Pierce County for how close it is reaching that 2019 compared to King County. So if you're working in Pierce County, market is definitely feeling it. Listings are sitting. Buyers have a ton of selection right now because there's less buyers anyway. So definitely opportunities. I've talked about this in your social media that you've got great selection right now, and you might be able to get those closing costs or getting the rate buy downs or some other incentives or even lower price or everything under the sun in an inspection. So just know that there's some good things that happen in the market too, not just negative. All right, Pierce County residential. Total in June, new listings was 1352. Last year was 1320. Not too big of a difference. Total actives 1790. And then total actives in June last year was 1230. That's up 45.53%. Pendings in June's was 1053. Last year, same time was 1113. It's barely off 5.21%. Closed sales is 924. Last year, same time was 974. It's just off 5.13%. And then median price in June 2024 for Pierce County residential is 563. And last year, same time was 545. It's barely up 3.39%. And then a total month supply is 1.94. Next month on this report, it's going to be higher. Pierce County condos only, June 2024 was 121. New at the same time last year was 90. Total actives in June for condos is 181. Last year, same time was 101. That's up almost 80%. Definitely more selection for condos, just like in King. Pendings in June is 90, and last year, same times was 67, and a percent change is 34.33%. Closed was 62, last year, same time 61. Just really close. And then the percent close is 1.64%. And then price median for condos in Pierce County was 394. Last year, same time was 380, barely up 3.68%, but a 2.92 month supply. So selection. So if you're questioning, well, why is my listing sitting? How come I haven't had any showings in the first week? What do I tell my seller? You should have already been telling them this information before you went on the market. So be prepared. If you're listing in that June, July, end of June, beginning of July market timing, it's going to be slower than we typically see. And that's when all of the other sellers come on the market. So it's all about that dialogue with and consultation with your sellers to keep expectations, right? Realistic. All right. Marketing update. With that, I'm going to bring up McKenna. Yay.
Hello, I'm McKenna, the marketing rep here, if anyone has not met me yet. Kent North has a really cool, new program that we're doing, and we're the first and the only ones to do it. We're the guinea pigs.
We're the guinea pigs.
Specifically one of you. And basically Marketing Refresh is going to be, you can go to the next slide. 3 different packages. And the idea is that a lot of brokers, you get 2, 3, maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years into your business, and you don't, you want to refresh your business brand, what you're showing to people on your social media, on your email newsletters, on your postcards, your anything. That includes your logo, your fonts, your colors, Then also the templates that you put on your videos specifically or your posts. And so these packages are supposed to be customized to you guys, and there's different ones, and you'll see it in your handout. But it's new, very, very new, new to me, new to you guys, and to John L. Scott. So there's a breakdown for each package, what you get in each of them. The premium does have like a full in-depth, and because we're focusing so much more on video, it's going to cater more to the video side, especially having graphics for your thumbnails. We're gonna shoot 3 videos that I'll help you edit, get you them in the, outside or in the video room here. And then you're gonna have customized graphics for your actual social media. And then you get custom folder that we keep on Canvas. So you have consistent branding on all your social media, on your videos, your email templates, your post, every print media, every outlet that you're putting out. So there's 3 different ones. The premium is the biggest one, and you get the most out of it. But it is a trial run. So I am only opening it up to 5 people for now. There's actually 1 spot already taken, so there's 4 left. If you'd like to sign up and try it out with me, there is a QR code on the back of that handout that will have a little form to fill out. But it's going to be, I think, really effective for a lot of people who want to refresh the brand that you've been putting out. Some people kind of gotten into a rut this year of feeling like, I feel like I'm behind in the times, or I feel like my branding isn't where I want it to be. And so this is an opportunity for you to sit down with me, we go through a full consultation, see which package would probably be most applicable to you, and then go from there. So this is kind of a new opportunity for our office specifically, but then also just using our resources here, like the video room, myself, and just each other to see what kind of new materials or branding stuff you guys want to do for your business. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'll be here at the office this afternoon. Actually, I have my first meeting for the marketing refresher after this. So if you're interested, let me know. And if you have any questions, you can ask them.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're gonna be testing out this whole new program. This is all brand new. This is new stuff. It's not any of the same, like, they're not taking John L. Scott templates and then adding your info and then just making a copy and charging you money for it. This is a complete, like, rebrand, refresh, marketing unique to just you. You'll get to pick your own like colors, and make it consistent throughout your entire marketing. If anybody's ever done like Denise Lonis group and paid, has anybody in here done that? Any of those types of, no?
Yeah.
Perkins.
Perkins, yeah, I know there's some people that have. It's like 5 times that kind of, cost. So very, very similar to that type of program. But anyways, get with McKenna, scan if you want to check that out. All right, we got some special guests. If they can come on up, grab a seat. My special guests.
All right, you're number 1. All right, I don't need one.
All right, thank you, Alberto and Alec and Eric for just agreeing to do this. I know that we talked about people's business that has changed this year, and just wanted to talk about what things that these guys are implementing right now that are actually making a difference. And so, first, if you guys could just state your name, how many years you've been in the business, and just how many years at Kent North. So you guys can just pass the mic.
So a lot of you guys know me. My name's Alberto. I've been an agent for about 2.5 years. My first year I started off at Remax. I was there for 1 year, then 1.5 years here at JLS.
Hey guys, I'm Alec. I was here, I've been doing real estate for about 6.5 years, and I was at my home group for the first year, and then about 5 years here, I believe so.
Hey guys, I'm Eric Dang. I'm currently out of the Bellevue main office, but Eric Scholl was he was my managing broker there as well. So I'm kind of between both offices, the Bellevue main and the Kent office. I am an East Side broker though. I've been in the business 4 years full time now, ever since joining my mother, Lan, who's my business partner. And I've been in the business for 6 years. 2 was as her assistant, and 4 years as an agent now, ever since I graduated from university.
Yeah, can't hold that.
Right on. All right, first question is for Alberto. how many open houses have you done so far this year?
So beginning like Q3, I decided I was gonna challenge myself to do 100 open houses in 100 days. And thank God I was actually able to do the 100 open houses in the 100 days. So 100 open houses.
Did you guys, wait, pause for a second. Did you guys hear that? He did 100 open houses in 100 days. That is not easy. You definitely did multiple open houses in the same day to make that, correct?
Yeah, the max open houses that I've done in one day has been three back-to-back open houses in one full day. Yeah.
That's grinding. Wow. All right. Alec, how many doors have you knocked on so far this year, approximately?
Gavin and I, we, worked on some things too. And I tracked all of it and it was about 3,000. But they're targeted doors, so, yeah.
3,000 doors knocked so far this year. That's pretty good. Great job. Eric, how many off-market deals do you and your partner do a year on average? And then how many so far this year?
Gotcha. So on average, we do 15 off-market deals a year, mainly in the redevelopment in the luxury space. So a lot of times in luxury, in the luxury space, there's a lot of times that a client wants the privacy and the convenience of it and not always the absolute highest dollar because there isn't really quite as much competition a lot of times in the luxury space. So privacy is really important to a lot of the clients. So far this year, we have closed 5, but we have 2 pending. So we need to pick it up a little bit to hit our normal track.
You guys hear us talk all the time about off-market letters. Jim, how long have off-market letters and Hannah been around? Forever, the whole time?
You have to, you have to explain what it means, otherwise it's just a term out there that's just thrown around.
Yeah.
Pretty loosely.
Don't forget, every single month, you get your 125 mailings a month to send out off-market letters. This is something that you should do every single month, which you guys do, right? All right, second question, Alberto, how many potential clients have you added into your database now?
So after the 100 days, I've only added like a little bit over 20 potential clients, both buyer and seller, and some of those are gonna buy and sell at the same time.
Pretty good. Alec, what kind of conversations get you the most leads that you're seeing right now from the door knocking?
So we kind of do, we work with a charity called Mary's Place, and we do a lot of decluttering. So we'll tell neighbors with our open houses or anything, we'll say, hey, we'll declutter items to help. Well, so we'll declutter items to give to the unhoused youth, and Mary's Place houses them. And so the conversation we have a lot is we have a lot of stuff they don't need, and we have a target market of people who've lived there for 25 years plus. And so we'll go during the open houses, Gavin and I will go knock on the doors or leave something on their door saying, hey, we invite you to the open house and we have stuff that you don't need. We'll come declare for free and pick it up actually. And Goodwill and other places used to pick it up, but they don't anymore. So we will, and we'll actually drop it off at Mary's Place. So a lot of the conversations they'll talk about, because I don't really know anyone who just declutters their home for fun, unless they're making a move, right? And then like, I do not like organizing things myself. So we thought, okay, let's do that. So we had a lot of conversations like, yeah, I have a lot of stuff. Can you remove furniture? I will tell them, well, we can't give furniture to homeless youth because they're not sure how to use that. There's ready furniture. So we get a conversation like, we're looking to sell, but not right now. So that's a really warm lead to us that we put in our CRM, and then we talk about their plans with them, and that's it. And go from there.
That's good. All right, Eric, where's your number one source of business coming from this year?
This year, it is the repeat referral and the database business. It really is the basics for us. Still over 90% of our business comes from repeat and referral. We on average do 35 transactions a year, and 90% of that is still from repeat referral in the database.
Yeah.
Third round, Alberto, how many transactions so far have you done or are pending since you started the 100 open houses in 100 days campaign?
So it's gonna be a total of 3 transactions total. I already closed one. One of them is going live tomorrow. And depending on one, and we're closing on that one on Friday.
That's amazing. Alec, how long do you follow up with neighbors for? Is there a plan in
Yeah.
place?
So,
CRM?
so we're starting to switch to Engage at John Scott actually, because I think it's really easy. We put, everyone we talk to, we talk about our charity, right? Decluttering, why not? And so everyone gets in that database of decluttering. We constantly ask them, it's a referral thing too. So it's saying, hey, instead of saying like, hey, do you know what else to buy and sell? Which is like really can be abrasive. We say, hey, do you know what that's moving that would like to donate stuff to us so we can give it to our charity? So that goes into 2 categories. Either you go to the declutter referral and everyone goes in there, whether they're interested in buying or selling or not, or they're making a plan with us. Anyone that talks about saying, hey, I'm looking to move, but not right now, they go into our other database with that. And we continue to make a plan with them, and it's called a client care for our system. And we continue to, they say, oh yeah, it's about a year or 2, but then, you can cut that down to really far if you kind of figure out what their problems are, what they're looking for. And then from then on, it goes down to, once we close them, to past client or your sphere, and then they all go to referral lists of declutter referral. So it's kind of a loop, and you're always in our system. And Gavin and I joke, we go, if you're not helping us, then you don't want to help kids. So I guess that's what it is.
All right, Eric, when you're a listing broker on a deal, do you ever adopt the buyer? Have you actually had sales from doing this?
Alright, so this is one that Eric asked me because one of our listings that just went pending in Education Hill in Redmond. So my business partner, and my mother, she listed this property 21 years ago. So 21 years ago, she listed this property, and the only contact information she had from the buyer was the email. So she added the buyer to the drip added the buyer's email to the drip campaigns. And then 21 years, never had a conversation with that buyer outside of, until the buyer reached out to us and said, hey, we've been receiving your drip campaigns for like 15 years. We'd like to interview with you to list the property again. And so we got the listing, and then, yes, we are pending, we had multiple offers, we're pending 100,000 above asking, and got the client is really happy. They have a non-refund, 100,000 non-refundable fee in their pocket. It's been an awesome transaction and a great client that left us a 5-star review. Him and his wife already have left us a 5-star review, and they're incredibly happy with the transaction so far.
That's awesome. So you actually, what, like the process when that you said that the broker, is not going to do, that doesn't do very many deals. You say in about 6 months after that, then you guys start adding them to like the housing updates and then your normal newsletter.
Yeah, so it's in terms of adopting buyers, it's one that, yeah, you want to be careful about, because any colleagues that you respect, you're not going to try to adopt their buyers. Any brokers that you really respect, that you work with on the other side, you don't want to adopt their buyers. But if it's an agent that, hey, that this agent doesn't do a lot of transactions, they maybe haven't been in the business for very long, and the odds of them still being in the business like a couple years down the line maybe not be that great, then there are buyers that we adopt and add to our database from that. But no one from John L. Scott Kent North.
I
Or
thought
the Bellevue main office.
I thought that strategy was really smart, because you guys know after 6 months, they forget, your clients forget your name if you're not talking to them. They can't remember your name at all. And if you're the only one delivering, relevant real estate information on a consistent basis, it basically gives you a foot in the door in the future. So don't miss out on that. That was a really good one. Alberto, are you still doing open houses today, and why?
Yes, so I'm getting ready to do another 100 open houses in another 100 days. And the reason being is because doing this challenge has really helped me like improve my mindset and like how I view like my day to day. So instead of just coming into the office and just hanging out all day, maybe working on the social media stuff or doing something, I could be at an open house sitting down, just like, like new construction people, they sit at those homes waiting for buyers to come in, so why can't I do that? It's like a store, the more that I'm open, the chances of me doing business increases. And another one of the reasons why I'm gonna continue to do this is because I feel like I've gained 1 years of experience by just the 100 days.
Yes.
Because a lot of agents, they'll do, one open house, 2 open houses every weekend. Some agents do like 1 or 2 a month, and I did it in 100 days. So I've got 1 year in 100 days. So the next 100 days, 2 years of experience.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Alec, how do you continue to fill your pipeline in a slower market?
Yeah. So, we, obviously we call, door knock, do our open housing events, and we mail, and then we do,
How many mailings do you do?
we use the free 125, and I use Gavin's too, and he uses for his sphere. So that as well, and then, so that's pretty much what we do there, and
But you're paying some too, right? You guys are doing
Uh,
more than the,
yeah, we didn't for this month, but usually it was 1,000. So, and so we do that, and all the events we do, we just kind of run one event per month, like a happy hour, and try to get into open houses, and we have data that we pull, that's our target market, that is really targeted, because I was, Thatch used to do like 100 doors a day. And I thought to myself, well, okay, if he's doing 100 doors, how does he know like who they are? And so nowadays we use, Access Home Closing, or we use Deal Machine to target, seeing if they are 100% equity or 75% plus. So when we door knock, we know exactly what their motives are. What does it always do for me? I don't know. So yeah, we're continuing to do that, and we have a consistent basis of doing every month and tracking it. And that's about it. It's just consistent and try to hit those 1,000 lead lists we got. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
so it really sounds like you're not waiting for business to come to you. You guys are chasing after business.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah, we do it differently, so we're, not only are we have a schedule of, 9/11, we have a consistent schedule from 9/11, we're prospecting, door knocking. From 11 to 1, we're calling, and then from 11 to 3 around there in lunch. And then after 3, we're doing appointments, or we're going on any of that, right? And so that's pretty much it. And then every weekend, we're doing an open house as well. And then we're door knocking again. So we invite everyone on a Friday to come to our open house. And then every month we're doing a happy hour and some kind of, with the business that we're doing at a charity event. So we kind of get to know one, and then we mail out as well that we're doing the event and we're still having that. Hey, if you have stuff you don't need, let us come pick it up. And so we're targeting as well people who own it for their home 25 years or have free and clear. And so, yeah.
Cool. No, that's good. Eric, how do you plan on finishing strong this year?
Well, on our listings, it's about continuing to do what we've been doing that's successful. And for us, a big factor in our business has been open houses, just like Alberto. And that's how recently I just put a $3.5 million buyer under contract that I met at open house. And so even especially with buyer representation agreements now, I do feel that with open house, there's a lot of opportunity. So for us, on all of our new listings that we launch, we hold it open the first 7 days on market. Because that's when you're gonna get the most buyers through the door. That's when you're gonna get 90% of your activity you're gonna get on a listing is in that first week. So you gotta get ahead, find those all the prospective buyers are pretty much gonna come that first week. So that's their biggest opportunity to add people to the database. And so we hold it, every listing we hold open the first 7 days, even if it's a weekday, I've experimented with 1 to 4, 5 to 7. I find the 5 to 7 timeframe actually works really well. Catching people coming back home from work. I've had a lot of success in that time frame. And then with our buyers, it's about treating it like a sprint instead of a marathon. And that's what I tell all of our buyers, especially with buyer representation. You're supposed to have a set time frame that you're getting, you're clearing that buyer and providing your services. So with our buyers, it's just about keeping them motivated by treating it like a sprint, telling them, hey, we got to be looking at houses a couple times a week. We got to continue to fire shots. We got to continue to get offers in, because the buyers that have been successful, they build momentum, and then you just keep them going. It's really easy to work with a buyer. They kind of let the process drag out too long, and then either they're not as excited about the home they're not as excited about the idea of buying a home anymore, life changes, and I think it's really important to treat every buyer like a sprint instead of a marathon now.
I love that. All right, let's give them a big round of applause, everyone. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you coming up.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. If you guys have questions, I would go talk to them, right? I mean, business is happening, but it's not the business that where you wait for it to come to you. That stuff is, those days are gone. So I would, if you want some insight to that, hit them up because they're very welcoming to sharing. All right, education development opportunities. Okay, legal lunch. This will be a good one this Thursday. Aaron, our legal counsel, will be doing a review of the new forms, new updates, and to be prepared for August 15th. So that'll be right here. You can watch this or the Zoom. We'll be sending out those links. So make sure you're here for Thursday from 1 to 2. Exceptional Homes. Rachel Warner will be here in person on Monday, July 29th. You'll be able to get all the brand new luxury marketing training. So make sure you guys come in for that. I know John Stein just used that, right? What
Yeah,
did you think?
I've been exceptionally pleased with Rachel and Mandy. They're incredibly user-friendly. They're very knowledgeable. They're very hands-on. We've had 2 separate meetings with the sellers. They have a lot of assets in terms for recommendations, for photographers, for printers. It's a really good program, and this new program, they transitioned to a package setup. But if you've got a listing, I think it's in King County for over 2 million, in Pierce County for over 1 million. I'd really recommend using them.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. So just make sure you're here for that because then you can check it all out in person. So she'll be here on Monday from 10 to 11 a.m. All right, we'll try this one. Thanks, Tony. All right, upcoming events. Not So Classic Golf Tournament will be Friday, September 6th. Please RSVP to the office by August 23rd. We'll be sending those out. More details coming, but yeah, you guys aren't going to want to miss this one. Company news and highlights. The enter a chance to win a John L. Scott yard sign is still going on. If you have 100 contacts signed up to receive monthly housing updates, those are in your packets too. If you want to scan the QR code, just to try to get more and more people on the housing updates. So that'll end on August 1st. Don't forget that the Win a Trip next drawing that corporate puts on is on August 28th. So if you're using these for your open houses or any of the stuff for, I know clients, I know Yvonne sends them to her database to go enter and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things you can use this for, and it's for free. Your clients will win $4,000 to put towards a trip of their choice. You can get all the marketing pieces in your John L. Scott library in marketing folder and in the Win a Trip folder. So I know a lot of people can use this. We even had didn't Yvonne win a drawing, but it was a fake client, right?
No, it was not a fake client.
It was a real client?
First time.
The real one the first time, but the second time?
No, I never had a fake client. I always had a real client that won.
Somebody in here had one.
It was Abby.
Oh, it was Abby. Oh, you're right. I couldn't remember, but yeah, Abby literally had someone win. I think they called her and said, hey, your client won. So she called, yep, fake number, fake name, $4,000. Don't forget about Leading RE Network. In 2023, 72% of referrals sent through the referral services resulted in a successful closing. That's huge. Our office was #1 in the company sending referrals. So don't forget when you guys are having these conversations that you are the source of all real estate across the planet. So every time you're having conversations with your clients, don't forget that you can send those referrals through the network to anywhere on the planet and you get 24% referral fee, and they do it all. All right, with that, I'll have Mr. Aaron Hafner come on up for the Mortgage Minute.
Ernie, hope everyone enjoyed the meet.
Yeah, that's great.
Good meet.
So yes. Let's dive in. Dive. All right. So. They go back. All right.
Forward. There you
There you go. All right. So let's look at our friend, the 10-year treasury. So the 10-year treasury today is kind of the benchmark that we use for where interest rates are. And so today we're at 4.261, and you can see it down here. So it was a little bit lower and then it worked its way back up. You would think with all the news that came out, last couple of days that would have more of an impact on it, but it hasn't. In fact, it's actually gone up. But you can see kind of where the level that we're at. So if you just disregard May and June, those last 3 months, we're probably kind of where we were at the beginning of the year. And so, again, we've just been like, it's been like a steady record, right? So I think the PEC reports will come out on Friday, which is a level of inflation. That'll be a kind of a big indicator of what's going on with that. But that's kind of where we're at. And typically what you do is you add about 2.5%, maybe 3% on top of this to get what the current mortgage rates are. Okay. So I'll just do again, here you go. And so you can see we're around 6.89. This is just the average. Some people are paying more points, people are paying less points, but it's probably around 6.89, 6.9%. And last year we were at almost 7%. So it's been steady. Rates really haven't changed much. And so that's probably why we're seeing the activity that we're seeing now, right? It's just people either getting used to it. And I feel like it's been a drum the whole time, just like, how do we pledge through? How do we get through? How do we get through? And so 30-year fix is around 6.89, jumbos around 7%. And then the ARM programs are slightly lower, but they only comprise about 5% of all the mortgages right now. And the reason being is because this is tied to a short-term interest rate. And right now we have this inverted yield curve where the 30-year fixed is almost the same rate as the 7-year ARMs. That's the reason why we're not doing a ton of them. Once that yield flips, then these will become more attractive for sure. And so there's not that much change in today for the mortgage rates, okay? But I feel like I've been saying this for the last 6 months, which I have. So, so I guess part of that is, I guess my thinking is, I want to be positive. So this is Aaron, I'm positive today. This is positive attitude Tuesday, so I'm Pat. Okay? So today I'm Pat.
You're scaring us.
Well, tomorrow will be positive attitude Wednesday. It'll be Pat again on Thursday, and then Pat on Friday. So anyhow, but the reason I bring this up is I feel like things are going to change. I have to be positive about that, right? And I think they are. And so we're looking at rates. I was looking at it today. 3 years ago, the rate was 2.625%. And now we're almost 7, we're at 7, right? That's a huge difference. And the other part is that I feel like after all this, we've made it. We've had a heck of the last 2 years. We've gone through hell this year. In fact, I think this year is worse than it was in or not worse, but this is worse than it was in 2008. Because in 2008, I could refinance stuff and do everything else because we had higher rates. Right now, we've already refied everybody. They're done. And you've done your great job about locking everybody in and buying these houses at 2.65 rates. So the reason why I'm being positive is because inflation's coming down. On Friday, we'll probably get a PEC report that says it went down just by a teeny bit, or maybe a little steady. The labor market is softening, which means that that's what the Fed wants it to do. And the Fed is getting ready to cut rates probably in July or in September. Okay. Maybe a quarter point. It may not be much, but it's completely better than this than it was before when inflation's going up. Labor markets are just skyrocketing and the Fed's increasing rates, right? So that's why I think it's positive. That's why I think things are moving forward. So again, the other part is you've done a great job about getting people into houses. So we have this lock effect where buyers may want to move into a bigger home, but the rate differential compared to what they're paying now is too much. I got 2.625. Why am I going to buy a house now? Even though you've done a great job marketing, they want to move, but they can't. So we seem to see what we unlock when you get about 1% or less above their current rate. So, for example, 6.625%. If we get to 6.625%, people at 5.625% might want to buy. That's 5.5 million across the country. Pretty good, considering we only had 4 million all last year. Oh. And then if you get to 6.125% from 5.25, that's an extra 7.5 million. And if we get to 5.5%, which I don't think is crazy, because even before all this stuff, rates were at 5.5%, 6% anyway, that unlocks maybe another 9.5 million people. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good, that's how I want to stay positive. Because when these rates come down, all the hard work that we've done and survived through all this is how we're gonna make it. Because I'm not losing out again, right? The last two refi booms kind of hit us and we're like, oh, what's going on? This one we know is gonna come, and I want to be ready for it, and we all are ready for it. So the trend is your friend, okay? The trend is your friend. And so, yeah, that's why I'm super positive about it. Because the other thing is, I'll show you this at the very beginning. Okay. So you can see the rate is at 4.26, but this margin will go down. Once this margin starts going lower, and remind you, we're at 4.24. So if we get to 4%, and we were at 3.75 at the beginning, end of last year. So you add 2 points to that, or 1.5 points or 2, and you get 5.75. It's not gonna take that long for it to jump. I don't think we're gonna see the slow work down. I think you're gonna see a jump, and it's gonna get crazy again. That's why I'm being bad today. So anyhow, sorry. All right, so, and then after that, so trend your friend, and then when looking increasingly, looking increasingly likely the Fed will cut interest rates by the end of the year. Chatter is out there that some of the, some house hunters believe mortgage rates will fall more and waiting for that to happen before they buy. That's possibly foolish, as now could be a great time to make offers before home prices increase and potential buyers lose power or lose some power. Additionally, there are more homes to choose from, you're just talking about, and growing a stale at giving buyers an opportunity to negotiate. You all know this, but I talk about this all the time when I meet with clients. All right, so quickly, the two things. One, we're gonna have 2 classes next month on this. The first one is this big box arena that we talked about maybe a couple months ago, where you can roll upgrades, some low remodeling into the loan itself without being a full renovation loan. You have to go through Home Depot or Lowe's to do it, but you can get your money within 2 days after we close. In other words, you can go up to 10% of the appraised value that can be added to the loan amount. Then we do the loan off of that, and then you have to use Home Depot or Lowe's. But once we close, they get a check directly to Home Depot. They go do their thing. Okay, it's great. It's conventional loan. Conventional loan. So big box enhancement is what they call it, but you have to use Home or Lowe's, Home Depot or Lowe's. You can improve, couple examples. You can do kitchen appliances, bathroom, lighting fixtures, hot water heater, deck and patio, stuff like that. So if you want to do a kitchen remodel, you can roll it into the loan as long as it's not more than 10% of the sales price. Okay. Appraisal will go out there and just appraise it, that kind of thing. So we'll do a class on that. You got to have 10% of the, you can't exceed 10% of the sales price. You got to have basically a 5% contingency fund. So you have to bring that to closing. And then 100% of the funds will be released with 72 hours of funding to Home Depot and Lowe's if they go through that. Okay. You can't use anyone else. And then we also have our covenant program, which you did the training class on Monday with Leah, or Monday, but at the beginning of the month. With that, have you all heard about this? Most people? Kind of.
Definitely should know about this by now.
This is the program. It's a program where we will go ahead and if you qualify for the program, we'll do a down payment assistance up to 20% down. 20%.
Interest.
Oh yeah, and by the way, it's interest free. You get 20% interest free loan qualify. So on your handouts, I have a little spreadsheet of how this looks. So typically on the down payment assistance program, the state will loan you 4% of the sales price of the house essentially. So in the first example, I'm showing that if you're buying a house at 3% down, the state will loan you, and it says DPA funds, basically $24,000. That's at 3%, or that's a 3% down, they'll loan you 4% or 24,000. That sits on the house, that sits on the loan, or excuse me, as a lien on the property, and you pay it when you sell it, but there's no additional, you don't have to pay any interest on it, which is great. But now the covenant program will allow you to go down to 100, or allow you 20% down. So they'll loan you 20% of the sales price plus rolling your closing costs into the total amount. Okay? Interest free. Okay? So, yeah. So anyhow, if you take a look at the monthly payments here, you'll see in a monthly payment of $44.91 versus the covenant program, you'll get $33.15. You'll save you $1,100. And you don't have to bring any money to closing because you can roll it into the loan, into the down payment system. Okay? It's great, yes.
How much is a permanent buy down for this program?
I don't know, we have to, so the rates here are set by the state. So when we do that, they will allow it. I have to go and actually get pricing from the state to see what it looks like.
Because it can't be rolled into those closing costs, correct?
No, it can't.
So it has-
Right, Lee? I don't think you can, I don't,
No, it has to be regular.
yeah, so the regular closing costs would be rolled into it, but you can't, the buy down would have to be paid separate.
Yeah, by the seller, right?
Yeah, or
And then-
by the buyer, whatever, yeah.
And the only reason I ask about the permanent is because if they refi, then they have to get that back. So
Here's that's great question. So if we think rates are coming down, right, and people want to refinance. Right now, on that 4% down payment assistance, you have to pay it off. They will not subordinate where you can redo the first mortgage. The down payment, the covenant, they said they will. They will do that, but it hasn't been in writing just yet. I know they're working on it
okay.
to figure it out, but
'Cause I was
they've
reading that
told
the other
us.
day and I didn't see that, so.
Yeah, they've told us when we went to class. So you know, you have to be, anybody who does this program has to be certified from the state. Okay, or the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. I think Lydia and I were the first 10 people to really get certified in that program. Okay, so you have to, not some people are doing this and not people know about it, but I want you to know about it. Because it creates a whole opportunity for people who didn't think they could qualify to buy a home, can. Creating that generational wealth.
On the 20%.
Yeah.
Covenant program. So that amount would be a lien on the property, right?
Correct.
So what if somebody doesn't sell the property for 30 years? Is there any limit time that they have to pay that lien back
They pay back after that 30 years.
after the 30 years?
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
not
you do
like
nothing,
you
it
have
just
to
sits
pay
there.
Back in 4 years or 5 years.
No, only if you sell. Right, am I missing something on that? Yeah. Great program. So again, we will do another class on it next month. We will do another class on this big box reno. So I think we have two awesome programs, especially for people being finicky or if you're trying to find something and you just don't have enough cash to roll it into, we have a program for that. Okay? Okay, got it. And then we have our summer celebration. So if you work with us and we have a buyer, we'll give them $2,000 worth of closing costs up until September 15th. You can use it on anything. Appraisals, consumer mortgage insurance, whatever, anything goes. I just did one where we can save another person $190 a month off of doing that, off of doing the buy down, the $2,000. So then we got a refi in 5. So if we pay you cash up front to help you with the closing costs, we'll refinance you in the next 5 years and pay the closing costs too, free money. And that's the rest of that. And then here you go, the more you know. I'm out.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you, Aaron.
After you can ask me,
Oh,
and we'll do it. We'll get it.
all right. All right, let's keep this going. Forms update. You guys all have forms packs with red lines in your handouts. This is what we got to dive into. First and foremost, the first form that's getting updated is the 1A listing agreement. I'm gonna start it out right at where they've crossed off seller acknowledges that offering compensation to a cooperating member. So that part is being changed. So they've removed the percent and dollar. It's just from that part is not required. So they're highlighting again that compensation is not required for a buyer broker, right? From a seller or from a seller. Seller's offer of compensation. Seller offers buyer brokers compensation as follows. This is all new and it's percent, sales price, or other to buyer brokerage firm, which in that verbiage is still the same. If the listing broker is a limited dual agent and represents both seller and the buyer, percent of the sales price or dollar amount equal to the amount in subsection 7B above, if not filled in. So that's the same as before, right? It's like the total of whatever you're taking. John?
So the effective date on this is the 1st of August, correct?
This will be, no, I think it's the 15th. Hold on. It is August 15th, yes.
Okay, so if we have a current
Uh,
listing, are we gonna have to update or what?
all right, You're skipping way far ahead, John.
You want to do it,
Um,
Sparky.
So existing agency relationships and pending transactions, listing agreements, buyer brokerage service agreements and purchase and sale agreements entered into on or after August 15th should be completed on the new forms. So as soon as you hit August 15th, you must be using the new forms. Purchase and sale agreements for transactions pending before August 15th, you don't need to amend anything for the purchase and sale agreements. Listing agreements signed before August 15th is fine. Those can stay. Okay? The one thing you will have to update is your buyer brokerage agreements. So if you're using the Form 41 of the John L. Scott version, those will have to, if you're not under contract on a house yet with that buyer, you have to execute new ones.
After August 15th.
August 15th. August 15th forward, all buyers must have the brand new one. Questions? Clear on that one? Alex? No, John L. Scott or Form 41. August 15th, as soon as you hit that deadline, you have to update them current buyers who are not pending on a transaction on one of the new ones. John L. Scott is still working to update theirs again. All right. Let's see. All right, so the newest section that I really want to highlight on the 1A listing agreement is this section right here in red. So if checked, the offer to pay buyer brokerage compensation shall extend to licensed brokerage firms that are not members of MLS. That's that same kind of verbiage from before. If you're in, like in the RMLS, or you're in the other one, like in Vancouver, if you're in an MLS that is not Northwest MLS, this covers it, okay? But you still must be licensed in the state of Washington. But the newest two boxes is this buyer to request compensation in offer. So in lieu of offering a specified compensation amount, seller invites the buyer to include in the buyer's offer the amount that the buyer requests seller to compensate the buyer brokerage firm, which amount must be agreed to by the parties, which is this new phrase that we've got to get used to now. It's called request in offer. This is going to be added in the input sheets. So if the seller's like, I don't want to offer compensation, but I'm fine paying it if the buyer requests me to pay it. Okay, now the next checkbox option for a seller is no offer of compensation. Seller declines to offer and does not intend to pay buyer brokerage compensation. Seller acknowledges that a buyer may still submit an offer that includes an amount that the buyer requests seller to compensate the buyer brokerage firm. None will be displayed in the compensation section of the listing. So this is going to be a new status in the SOC box that will say one of these two phrases, request an offer or none. Even if it is none, you will still be able to ask a seller to pay it. Okay, and you're going to see when we get to the section of the Form 21 sample. Questions on that? All right, not too bad. All right, let's keep it moving. Okay, also in the 1A, they've crossed out the words, which I asked this before to the forms committee because it still had this in both of the agreements, was and to sharing of compensation between firms. Because that's the piece that has to go away for decoupling compensation. There can't be any sharing. Sharing is where one party of the transaction, so the listing broker gets the total compensation and they share it to the buyer brokerage firm, or vice versa, listing firm to buyer firm, or excuse me, buyer firm to listing firm. No more sharing. There's no shares. It is only the amount charged. Separated. The one that cracks me up, it says, money's coming from the seller to the buyer brokerage firm, not from the listing firm. So they're just completely decoupling the way that it's explained and the way that it's described in our agreements. All right. Let's see, Form 47, right? Off-market sale to an identified buyer. So the thing that's getting updated is the same thing. They're removing the phrase about sharing compensation between firms. That is completely being removed. And then the new thing that's added in the MLS is that they're provided that any terms reported to the MLS before sale closes shall be used for aggregated anonymized reports. So what they're talking about is when you make a deal go pending, you're the listing broker, you're changing it in the MLS. Upon August 15th, what they're gonna do is there's a new phrase. It's like, oh, if the seller said that no compensation was offered or for a buyer to request an offer, they're gonna wanna know what you agreed upon, the amount. The reason they're doing this is they're collecting data. They want to be able to prove to the Department of Justice that there's no, crazy dealings happening out there, that basically compensation is still being negotiated. So they want to be able to have the data. So be prepared for that. It'll be a little bit different on the, when you change a listing to pending. Because it's going to ask who is the broker on the other side. It's going to ask what kind of terms, and this will be the new section that you'll be answering. So be prepared for that. All right, Form 41. There's a lot of red on this one. A lot. First things is that the firm may not receive compensation from brokerage services provided to buyer from any source greater than the amount found in this section 5 or any subsequent amended hereto. So let me explain what this means in layman terms. You must charge what you're charging the buyer. There's going to be no more in the event seller offers more, or if there's a bonus that the checkbox for it will automate and go to the firm. Remember, I talked about this last month, that this is the biggest piece of the change. Whatever you're charging is what you charge, and that's all you can get. You will not be able to amend it. You can amend it, but as soon as you do, you're in the danger zone. That's the way they explained it. So if you charge 5 cookies for your compensation, right? And in your Form 41, you're charging 5 cookies. You show up, there's a listing that says, hey, I want more buyers. I'm offering 6 cookies and they're chocolate chip. And the buyer loves this house. That one extra chocolate chip cookie has to go to who? The buyer. It's going to the buyer.
Can't go to the seller or any, that's all gone now?
It's,
You
you,
haven't got that
well,
far yet.
yeah, we haven't got there yet, but just watch. So you have to be charging what you charge. There's no, I know a lot of people implemented this kind of plan, and I've heard from other offices where they're telling the brokers like, yes, go to a lower amount that you're happy with. And if it's above it, you can still get that amount by checking this box. You can't do that anymore.
You might be getting into this, but what if you're charging more? Do you have to make the buyer make up that difference? So
You can still amend that.
Okay,
Yes.
charge 10%.
Charge 10 cookies, whatever you're charging is what you charge. That has to become your structure. All right, does that make sense? They're removing all of that whole section pretty much, literally for seller compensation. As far as a seller may, but is not required to offer compensation to firm for representing buyer in the purchase of seller's real property. Seller's offer shall be stated in the purchase and sale agreement. So there's a whole new front section, which you guys are gonna see clearly here in a moment. That's the only place it's negotiated now. If the seller is offering compensation, and what do you want them to pay? It's a new box. So if seller's offer is greater than the compensation as part of buyer's offer, buyer may request the amount of seller's offer that is greater than the compensation. B, all of those are like removed except for credited to buyer. to the extent allowed by buyer's lender. And that's it. Remember look at all the other boxes that you could have done. Seller's offers less, you can give it back to seller, pay the balance, compensation to the firm at closing. All of that is removed. So it's gonna be very, very simplified. They wanna make it really clear that buyers understand that whatever they're gonna pay for compensation, that is what they're gonna pay.
Why? Why? Why?
Lawsuit,
Oh, what?
settlement. It's transparency. It's all of the rules before were little loopholes. So they want to make it super easy, clear for clients to understand. I guess part of the dialogue was that our forms were a little confusing and that people were implementing a plan. And just like I said, they were implementing a plan of saying, okay, don't worry, buyer, I want to make, 5 cookies, but, if it's more, then you don't worry about it. They just want to make sure that whatever you charge, they're paying.
So, I mean, just for the sake of argument, and I know I'm splitting hairs here, but, now I'm showing listings and most of them are 2.5% paid out by the seller. Cookie, 2.5 cookies.
Just do a higher number of cookies.
Then one comes and there's 3 cookies. And then the buyer decides I should have the extra half a cookie. Can the 41 be amended at that time? Or can be amended, like
So you said, you said 5 cookies you charge, there's 6 in the listing. The buyer wants the 1 cookie credited back to them? Is that what you're saying?
No. They did such a great job.
Oh, they want you to get it.
They want an extra cookie.
Yeah, I mean,
Can we amend it?
you can amend your 41 to raise it, but I would only raise it for that listing, I guess. But we're gonna have to have more training once we get clarity of what type of rules, because there's a bunch of the rule changes to the Northwest MLS as well that goes along with this.
It sounds like you're saying better to amend it down than up. Is that what you're saying? No.
I'm saying charge what you want to get, period. All right, showings, the last thing being removed is the showing listings and VA financing. That's being removed and it's added into the language that VA regulations may require compensation be paid by the seller. On August 15th, it's going into effect that VA temporarily is lifting the ban, but it's a temporary lift. So it's not permanent, so that's why they had to use language like this, that they may. All right, this is the important one, residential purchase and sale agreement. This whole front box is being completely retooled, okay? They're removing firm, which I need to get clarity on why do they want to take away the word. It just says buyer brokerage compensation. So that paid is offered or other is gone and C is gone. There's now lines that will say an addendum for buyer credit if seller's offer, if any, or amount to be paid by seller, B. There's 2 major boxes. This will make sense here in a second when I show you. Uh-oh. So this is what it is being changed to. So every single purchase and sale agreement you write, whether a condo, vacant land, whatever, buyer brokerage compensation, seller's offer, if any. If it's published in the listing, if you use transaction desk, it's gonna automatically put it into this box. Seller's offer, if any. It could say 5 cookies right there. But your buyer brokerage services agreement is for 10 cookies. You want the buyer wants the seller to pay that obligation. So you're gonna put amount to be paid by seller. 10 cookies. So whatever the amount the buyer wants to be negotiated, it has to go into this box. No purchase and sale agreements can have these blank. They have to be filled in. If the seller's offering none, zero, nothing. If the buyer wants them to pay 5 cookies, you're gonna put 5 cookies there. Or seller says none. You put none in the first A box, and the buyer's like, oh, don't worry, I'm paying it. I'm paying the 5 cookies myself. You would put 0. And then the only other last option is there's an addendum for a buyer credit. If you're giving buyer credit for anything, the new 41C buyer credit addendum, it's totally changed now. That's what it is now. It's a buyer credit addendum only. So the 41C is a buyer credit addendum. So, makes sense?
Oh, yeah.
Woo! Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, 41C, like I said, that whole thing is literally obliterated. It is completely red. All of it is removed. Even the name of it, right? So all of that is gone. You have one box, credit to buyer. The difference between the amount of seller's offer for buyer brokerage firm's compensation and the amount to be paid by seller shall be credited to buyer's obligations at closing. If buyer's obtaining a loan or loans to purchase property, this part's the same. It'll be applied as a reduction in the purchase price. So they can choose now, it's a reduction in the purchase price or credited to seller. So they can credit to seller if neither box is selected. So if you're trying to win in the multiple offer situation, in the scenario in your buyer brokerage services agreement is 5 cookies the buyer owes you, seller's got 6 cookies that they're offering. Buyer says, I want to give up 2. You literally would have to go 6 cookies is what seller's offering in the listing. Amount to be paid by seller. You only want how much? 4. 4 addendum for buyer credit. You're gonna mark on that one, and they're gonna use the 41C to credit it to the seller, to the other 2 cookies to make your offer competitive. Tim?
Now, if I have a transaction with a buyer that is going to close, do I have to get that buyer to sign the new one? So the old agreement still holds for till,
No, all pending deals stay the same. Whatever you have on those stay the same all the way through to closing. But if that deal falls through, you got to get a whole new buyer's brokerage services agreement signed with the buyer. All right, escalation addendum is also being amended. They're calling it the new escalation amount. Okay. And then they're also changing, what is it? Oh, and adjusted for any credits to buyer or seller. For purposes of this addendum, credits means credits for closing costs or concessions or broker compensation. So if you're giving credits for any broker compensation at all, and you have an escalation addendum, all of those types of credits must now be calculated. Here's a secret. You don't even want to mess with that, counter the offer, remove the escalation, and just get initials and then share the offer later to avoid problems. All right, with that, very last thing, access on closing. Chase is back to work after him and his wife had a newborn baby boy. But if you need to open title or escrow, you can do it right from your MyDesk. Really simple. Chase is, like I said, back to work. So if you need to hit him up, go to bookwithchase.com. And last but not least, our quote of the month: coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Thank you guys so much for making it today.